Jenny, Jenny. Jenny, Jenny, yeah, yeah. Hello, beautiful souls. This is your host, Chris Cypher, and I recently did a journal entry that I hope that you will find intriguing. The ups and downs of life must be properly regulated. The natural ebb and flow of life pulls and pushes in many directions with infinite variations. There are endless ways to alter your entire life story, either good or bad. Every choice we make dictates our entire reality. Does the shore miss the tide when it flows away? Do the seas below envy the clouds upon the mountain tops, longing for a brightly vivid imagination? For we reside within our own personally created worlds, each including its own unique filter of perception and opinion. Getting juicy here. Our own little worlds, yeah. How odd is it to live amongst a world where everyone is within a world within themselves. Upon a world, yet within our own little worlds. Then, how may we define the world within the world? Better yet, how can we peacefully coexist amongst our inner worlds? Is there a way to love with no boundaries? Also, without compromising one's own moralities and standards? How fragile is the solidity of perception? What can break our accepted viewpoint of reality? Amongst the many reasons why it is important to understand yourself and the world around, there are a few key points which, understood and properly applied, can unlock life's fullest potential. And then I put under viewpoint here, viewpoints are from which we view both our inner and outer worlds. Usually these points are accepted and understood as truth and fact. It is from these angles of perspective of viewpoints which one observes and draws conclusions about life. Okay, then we get into metacognition. Metacognition, simply put, to think about one's thoughts. This is the entryway to the grand halls of wisdom, even unto insight, in so much as one can think that he can do. That he can do. Whoo! For only true restriction is a lack of creativity and imagination. Imagination. So that was number one. So amongst the many viewpoints, there are a few key points, and we have a few key points here. One is metacognition, thinking about your thoughts. Number two, your outer world will always eventually reflect your inner world. Therefore, your thoughts are ever influencing your current and future reality. Although there is a slight delay in effect, you will always experience the aftermath of your mental allowances. Thus, you must steadily steer your train of thought down the ever-productive path. Commentary on the first two. Acknowledgement of your mental facilities, enlighten you to the root causes behind your lives. Many patterns, the first leads unto the next, 'cause you then realize the implications you have upon your reality by your thoughts. Yeah. Number 3 of the points. You can control, direct, dictate your thoughts. You can control, direct, and dictate your thoughts, inherently altering your reality. Anything inferior to its fullest potential can be improved. Anything and everything lacking its highest production output has the ability of optimization. This refers to the phenomenon of improving. A process, method, or means of energetic input/output that is optimal/maximum potentiality. And number 4, the last but definitely not least of our greatest points we have. Energies have dependable and predictable tendencies. Take, for example, the law of gravity upon the earth due to the mass of the world, creating its gravitational forces, magnetizing its inhabitants towards the center. So that if a glass cup falls off the counter, it crashes to the ground and shatters. I said of, but it's off the counter, and it crashes to the ground and shatters. It shatters to many spread out pieces. If the law of gravity were not so, we would not even assume the cup to sit stilly on the counter firstly, let alone falls downward when dropped. Such is gravity, a predictable way that matter works. Drop an apple 10 times, it will hit the ground 10 times. Now, some tendencies of energy are not as straightforward or plainly quantifiable as, say, gravity, for example. But nearly each energetic exchange can be reasonably expressed and represented in equational form, which, when balanced, would, in theory, reach their fullest energetic potential. Okay? The notion of this process being exemplified by mathematics is purely theoretical in nature. Better yet, I should say merely metaphorical. Numbers may in turn represent figures, ideals, or yes, even energies. This ideal is plainly represented in the ideology of numerology, the concept of numerological spiritual significance. Numbers 1 through 4 act closely in accordance with each other, naturally flowing and progressing towards implement. However, like the laws of gravity, has its exceptions and outliers. So too, many tendencies of energetic progressions. Therefore, we can conclude the ways of the waves are inconclusive, perhaps not set in stone. This leads me to my next question. Are thoughts things? Well, that's a complicated question. To begin with, a formidable answer, I must firstly pose a side question. Can thoughts become things? Which I will explain to you why they surely can. If you take a quick glance around, no matter where you're at, you are most likely looking at objects that were once simply thoughts in someone's mind. Through specific processes, buildings, furniture, something, and technology of the like came to physical existence in this reality. So can they become things? Of course. All thoughts become forces of nature, active and prevalent in form and reality. Change your mind, change your life, all this and more is possible. Simply put, for this mental practice, example of an exercise, I would like to propose the Pythagorean theorem. If you're unfamiliar with the Pythagorean theorem, I hope that you do know what it is, but it is a squared plus b squared equals the c squared, okay? Simply put, cause plus current equals outcome. Okay, and that is the metaphor I wanted to show. Okay, cause plus current equals outcome, or intent, enactment, plus or upon the current circumstances equals or leads to the causal outcome. This idea can be productively applied to the notion of thought positively in influencing your life. A squared, the causal force, productive thought, intention, which influences reality. The effort enacted alongside causal force. B, current circumstance. Ice cold water. Situational variables and outliers. How things are. The squared represents the resistance or acceptability towards initial causal form. Causal form. Outcomes. Okay, so c squared represents outcomes in regards to initial cause. So what changed and how did it change? Squared is differences since change and consequences. Three forms of mind. Conscious, subconscious, superconscious. The over, the under, and beyond, yeah.